порядок боевой. У нас в любом полку, в столичном нашем округе всегда мы начеку. Локатор цель берет, и знают все войска, коварного противника собьем наверняка.
Советский войск, мы грозная частица, слетят ракеты за воздушным рубежом. Храним свое, мы небо над столицей, мы небо всей страны надежно бережем. Храним свое, мы небо над столицей, мы небо всей страны надежно бережем.
Hello everyone, this is Showtime 112. In the history of World War II aerial warfare, Allied aces are sometimes overlooked as their total scores seem small compared to those of the Luftwaffe pilots. Soviet aces are even more overlooked. Ivan Mykytovich Kozhedub was the most successful not only among the Soviets, but among all Allied fighter pilots. He is credited with 62 victories. But if you search Amazon for books about him, you will not find a single title in English language. Kozhedub was born in 1920 in northeastern Ukraine. While attending college, he joined the local aero club. In 1940, he joined the Red Army, and after completing his pilot training in February 1941, he was retained as an instructor. He performed this duty until late 1942, when his request for a transfer to a combat unit was finally granted, and he joined the 240th Fighter Regiment. The unit was converting from LaGG to the newer Lavochkin LaGG. LaGG was based on the older model, but it received a more powerful Shvetsov radial engine instead of Klimov inline. This resulted in a higher maximum speed, better rate of climb, and horizontal maneuverability. Firepower was also increased with two synchronized 20mm cannons. On the downside, the heavier engine changed the center of gravity and made the aircraft more difficult to fly. Internal fuel capacity was increased by adding two more fuel tanks. Although it extended the combat range, it made the airplane more sluggish, and later variants were reverted to 3 tanks only. The fighter had various issues such as oil splashing over canopy and engine either supercooling or overheating. Despite the improvements, LaGG was still generally inferior to its main rival, Messerschmitt Bf 109. When Kozhedub received his first dedication aircraft in February 1942, unlike most other airplanes in the squadron, it was the heavier variant with 5 fuel tanks. In early March 1943, he was finally sent on his first combat sortie. It was a defensive patrol. As Kozhedub and his flight leader took off from their airfield at Urazovo east of Kharkiv, he wasn't able to follow his leader in his heavier, slower airplane. He was also unable to make radio contact, and he continued to patrol alone. As he turned back towards his airfield, he spotted 6 twin-tailed aircraft flying towards it. He assumed them to be Petlyakov PE-2 bombers. Only when they started to drop bombs on the airfield, Kozhedub realized they were Messerschmitt Bf-110s. But as he was about to attack the German planes, he came under attack of a Bf-109. His Lavochkin was damaged, and on top of that, he also became the target for friendly flak units. He managed to escape the Bf-109, and the enemy fighters retreated west. Kozhedub was barely able to land this damaged fighter on the airfield full of craters, fires, and smoke. As it took time for his dedicated aircraft to be repaired, he would only fly occasionally. By June 1943, he accumulated 30 combat missions, but he was yet to score his first victory. However, his squadron was suffering such heavy casualties that Kozhedub was promoted to the rank of junior lieutenant, and he was made squadron deputy commander. He achieved his first aerial victory on 6 July 1943 on his 40th combat mission. This was the second day of the Battle of Kursk. Kozhedub's squadron took off at dawn and headed to cover ground troops at Pokrovka. They were directed to intercept a group of over 20 U-87s escorted by Bf-109s. Soviets focused on the Shtukas and attempted to shoot them down while defending from the Messerschmitts. Kozhedub approached the Shtuka and after several long bursts managed to shoot it down. Focusing on the target, he failed to notice the Bf-109 that was attacking him, but his wingman, Vasily Mukhin, was able to chase the German fighter away. The Shtuka formation retreated, and the Soviet squadron CO called its fighters to regroup. But Kozhedub spotted another Shtuka formation approaching without fighter escort. He ignored his commander's call and went after the Shtukas. As he maneuvered behind the tail of one of them, he realized he was out of ammo. Being also low on fuel, Kozhedub and his wingmen gave up the attack and landed back on last drops. The squadron's CO, Captain Semyonov, first publicly dressed him down for ignoring his orders, but then also commended him for his victory and fighting spirit. The next day, 7 July 1943, Kozhedub was able to shoot down one more Shtuka, but his memoirs don't give any details about this kill. The squadron commander, however, was wounded in this combat, and Kozhedub became the acting commander. On 9 July, he was leading a 4-airplane formation over the front line. He spotted 2 Bf-109s which soon descended and turned towards his flight. The two groups were approaching for a head-on pass. Kozhedub fired a long burst at the leader. The Messerschmitt was hit and it dived towards the ground in smoke. This was Kozhedub's third kill. On that same day, he flew 2 more sorties, and he was credited with another Bf-109. Unfortunately, this kill isn't described in any detail in his memoirs either. Several days later, Kozhedub was formally promoted to squadron commander, and he received his first decoration. On 13 or 14 August 1943, depending on the source, Kozhedub was given the task of escorting a single PE-2 on a reconnaissance mission near Kharkiv. The squadron had flown plenty of bomber escort missions until that point. As they were heading west, the Lavochkins and the P-2 reached a German airfield at 3,500 meters of altitude and noticed clouds of dust which indicated takeoffs. As they flew more deeply into enemy territory, Kozhedub saw 10 Messerschmitts climbing towards his formation. He sent 4 fighters to engage the enemy, while he and his wingmen stayed with the Petlyakov. One of the Bf-109s attempted to attack it, but Kozhedub shot it down with a long burst before it was able to harm the Soviet recon plane. As the remaining Messerschmitts were engaged in heavy fighting with Lavochkins, Kozhedub ordered the recon pilot to disengage immediately. He didn't respond at first, but after repeated radio communication, he asked for a few more minutes to perform his task. One Messerschmitt shot down one of the Lavochkins that followed another German plane, but the German pilot was immediately shot down by another Lavochkin. The Petlyakov was still circling and Kozhedub was getting annoyed by it. He spotted another Messerschmitt trying to attack the Soviet bomber. A similar scenario was repeated. Kozhedub attacked from the above, and after several bursts, the Messerschmitt went down in flames. Kozhedub again urged the Petlyakov pilot to disengage, and this time he obeyed. After this battle, even Kozhedub was credited with kills 5 and 6. That made him an ace by Western standards. By the end of World War II, his final score was 62. This included one Messerschmitt 262, a rare feat for a Soviet pilot. All of the kills were achieved on Lavochkin fighters, La-5, La-5FN and La-7. In his autobiography, Kozhedub claimed to have also shot down 2 American P-51s at the very end of the war. The Mustang pilots mistook him for a German and attacked him. The incident was supposedly hushed up to avoid political consequences. After World War II, he participated in the Korean War as a division commander. Formally, he didn't fly any combat missions, although some sources hint that he might have done so. As already mentioned, Ivan Kozhedub was the highest scoring Allied ace of World War II. He achieved the rank of Marshal of Aviation, and he died in 1991. Modern-day Ukrainian National Air Force University in Kharkiv is named after him. If you liked the video, be sure to press the like button. Join our Patreon supporters or donate on PayPal to ensure future content. Thank you and keep watching Showtime 112.